The school beauty received 999 love letters every day. But among today's letters, there was a family portrait of three mixed in. Not only was she the female lead in the photo, she was holding an adorable little girl, who looked 80 to 90% like her. Furious, she immediately came to find you, the mastermind behind this prank. But then, she saw you holding the little girl from the photo by the hand, and the child kept calling her mom. The campus beauty was completely dumbfounded. You looked utterly awkward. Mikai, you might not believe this, but this is our biological daughter from the future. That day, less than 2.5 seconds after you stepped outside, an adorable little girl, delicate as a porcelain doll, ran up to you. Dad, I finally found you. You stared at her in shock. Before this little girl whose baby fat had yet to fade, you crouched down. Little girl, did you get separated from your mom and dad? Want Big Brother to take you home? But the little girl answered in her bright, clear voice, Dad, what are you talking about? Youyou does not understand. Your scalp went numb. You were only an innocent 18-year-old high school boy. How could you have an 8 or 9-year-old daughter? Patiently, you tried again. Do you miss your dad? Big Brother will help you find him, okay? You are my dad. Youyou's dad. Seeing she could not get through to you, the little girl pouted miserably. She opened her arms and lunged for your embrace. You instinctively dodged aside, and she missed you entirely. Her eyes instantly reddened. Her tiny pink fist clenched tight, and tears began pattering down her cheeks. Dad, do you not want Youyou anymore? The sight threw you into a panic. Hey, little one, do not cry. Can someone tell me why an 18-year-old high school student has a little girl running up and calling him dad? At your words, the little girl cried even harder. Dad used to call me his precious Youyou. I want mommy. Mom will make you kneel on a washboard. You took a deep breath. Youyou, right? I really am not your dad. I have a photo. Still crying. The little girl pulled a photograph from her clothes. Helplessly, you took it. It was a family portrait of three. Then your gaze was instantly drawn to two figures, one large and one small. The little girl was, naturally, the adorable and delicate Youyou. Holding her was an exceptionally beautiful woman. She seemed vaguely familiar, but you could not remember where you had seen her. 2.5 seconds later, you shifted your gaze to the man standing beside them in the photo. You froze where you stood. The man looked 90% like you, though he had lost some of your youthful air. Good heavens, what kind of sick joke was this? Beside you, Youyou pouted and huffed. Dad, now you cannot pretend you do not know Youyou. This picture was taken when Youyou was 5. Stunned, you studied the little girl's face. She really did resemble you somewhat, and for some reason, whenever you looked at that unbearably adorable little face, a strange, subtle feeling stirred inside you. You took a deep breath, trying to calm your wildly churning emotions. Little girl, what is your name? My name is Yun Youyou. Then what are your mom and dad called? My dad is Yun Mo. My mom is Mikai. Her parents must truly have spoiled her. Whenever the little girl spoke those two names, her voice carried unmistakable pride and contentment. At last, shock spread across your face. You looked down at the photograph again. No wonder, the moment you saw that woman, she had seemed familiar. At Akun High School, where you studied, Mikai was the unattainable dream girl in every boy's heart. But the problem was, you did not know her at all. You were stunned. Little girl, are you saying, my future wife is Mikai, and we have a daughter? Wait, even if this impossible story was true, why was Yun Youyou here? Had she traveled through time? At your question, Yun Youyou furrowed her brows. She could not quite understand it. Why was Dad acting so strangely today? He looked a little different from how she remembered too. He even seemed better looking. Unable to figure it out, she simply shook her head hard. Dad, take me to find Mom. I have not seen her in days. I miss her so much. Though it was still unbelievable, you gradually began accepting it. After all, the instinctive closeness you felt upon meeting Yun Youyou could not be faked. Even with your own mother, you had never felt such a powerful blood bond. Youyou, how did you end up here? You asked in confusion. I do not know. I woke up from my nap, and I was here. Yun Youyou nervously fidgeted with her little hands. Well, if she really had traveled through time, you could hardly expect a little girl to explain it clearly. Still, you would rather believe it was a misunderstanding. For example, perhaps she was your father's illegitimate daughter. Of course, the simplest solution was a paternity test. Just then, Yun Youyou's stomach suddenly growled. She rubbed her flat little tummy, looking miserable. Dad, Youyou is hungry. 2.5 minutes later, you brought Yun Youyou to your rented apartment. Yun Youyou took off her shoes and skipped around the room, looking everywhere. Her eyes were full of wonder. Dad, why do you not live with Mom? Before, you slept together every night. Did you, Dad, have a fight with Mom? You had no answer for that. You opened the refrigerator and decided to make the child a simple bowl of egg noodles. A few minutes later, Yun Youyou held a bowl nearly bigger than her face. She must have been truly hungry. Her cheeks were stuffed full, like a pufferfish. While she ate, you looked up the cost of paternity testing online. It really was beyond what you could afford. Once she was full, Youyou began urging you to find her mother. You were immediately at a loss. Mikai was the school's universally recognized innocent beauty. She was also reserved and aloof. Naturally, you did not have her contact information. Even if you did, what could you say? That this was your daughter, and she was your future wife. She would probably think you were insane. Yun Youyou tilted her head. Dad, did you really fight with Mom? Hearing that, you asked cautiously. Did Dad and Mom fight often before? Yun Youyou poked her rosy little lips with a finger. No, Dad and Mom love each other very much. They argue a tiny bit sometimes, but Dad quickly goes to kneel on a washboard, and Mom stops being mad. You were speechless. It seemed your future marriage would be a happy one, though you might be a little henpecked. But if Yun Youyou truly had traveled through time, things were rather complicated. Finding the child's mother was clearly urgent. After thinking it over, you borrowed the family photo from Youyou, planning to seek out the legendary innocent school beauty, Mikai. After all, the first time you saw the little girl and that family portrait, it felt as though your heart had been struck. Who knew how Mikai would react when she saw the photograph? Next, you put on your shoes as you called your mom. Mom, spot me some cash. Though your family was well off, after your living expenses, the money you had left was still not enough to cover a paternity test. Didn't I send you 2,000 yuan just a couple of days ago? Are you a money pit or what? Lin Hui sounded quite impatient. Yun Youyou stood obediently behind you, hands clasped behind her back. Her big eyes blinked. Dad, is that Grandma? I miss Grandma too. Lin Hui became instantly alert. What was that racket? Why did I hear a child? Mom, there is something I do not know how to tell you. After saying that, you paused. Then you spoke again. Looks like you're about to become a grandma. Lin Hui fell silent for a moment. Then her panicked, furious voice rang out. You little brat, what did you say? Say that again. Who did you knock up? How many months along is she? At that moment, she felt the Yun family must have hit the jackpot. You answered calmly. The child's 8 years old. Lin Hui fell silent again. After a long while, she finally said, Do you think your mother is an idiot? Go play somewhere else. With that, she promptly hung up. Then, you received a 1,000 yuan red packet from your mom. Since you still had classes that afternoon, you could only leave Youyou home alone, though she was reluctant. Youyou, if you get bored, watch some television. I'll be back tonight. You reminded her again and again before leaving. Then, under the little girl's hurt, reluctant gaze, you headed out. At 1:30 that afternoon, you arrived at Mikai's classroom. You asked a boy seated in the back, Is Mikai here? The boy looked around, then shook his head. No. You fell silent for a moment. Where does she sit? I have something for her. The boy gave you a slightly strange look. After hesitating for a while, 4th row from the back, you thanked him and walked straight to Mikai's desk. Her desktop was spotless. Her books were stacked neatly, and an exam paper lay open. It was clear she was a very diligent student. Then again, she consistently ranked among the top 10 in her grade. Besides being beautiful, she was a genuine academic star. You tucked the photo beneath her pen holder, then tore off a sheet of scrap paper. You wrote down your name in class. Once you were done, you quickly left. You ignored the other students. Baffled stares. As long as you do not feel embarrassed, no one can defeat you. At 5:30 that afternoon, your best friend Fang Yuan walked over, carrying a basketball. Mo, come shoot some hoops. Without looking up, you sorted through your incorrect answers. No, do not keep your dad here from getting into a top university. Fang Yuan rolled his eyes. Stop studying. 2.5 years have passed, and we're still hovering around the college admission cutoff. What? Are you going to fly to the heavens in these last 4 months? You curled your lip. I've already decided. I'm taking my talent to a top university. That was what you said. But you were really waiting for someone, even though you felt uncertain. Just then, Fang Yuan suddenly went quiet. He even took a step back, staring fixedly at the classroom door. Oh, Yun Mo. He's here. The girl on cleaning duty pointed at you. The one seated at the very back is Yun Mo. Someone's here for you. Hearing that, you looked up. A delicate-looking girl stood at the classroom door. Her delicate face was pure and lovely, and her legs were straight and long. Fang Yuan's gaze instantly snapped to you, full of disbelief. It had to be said. The instant you saw Mikai in person, you became certain of one thing. If the photo was real, then she was the woman in it. Her younger self looked far too much like Yun Youyou. This seemed to be Mikai's first time going to another class to look for a boy. She was not used to her classmates staring at her, her expression tense and slightly unnatural. Yun Mo, come out for a moment. I need to talk to you. Her voice was crisp, but cool and distant, with suppressed anger beneath it. A few minutes later, in a secluded spot, Mikai steadied her emotions. Then she said, Yun Mo, I do not think we know each other. Do you really find this kind of prank amusing? Hearing that, you asked. So, you think it is a prank? What else could it be? Do you not think you have gone too far? Mikai frowned deeply. She knew she was pretty. Plenty of people had secretly slipped her love letters, but this was the first time anyone had given her a family photo. That afternoon, when she entered the classroom, she immediately noticed the photo beneath her books. In that instant, the woman in the photo captured her attention. The woman's features and figure were clearly more mature, and she wore a gentle, tender smile Mikai had never shown before. Yet in Mikai's heart, one thought rose up beyond her control. That is me. It was an incredibly strange feeling. Then, uncontrollably, she began studying the little girl in the photo, as well as the man beside her. Mikai did not know the man. She only felt that. Looking at him made her feel oddly at ease. But why did this little girl, too beautiful and doll-like, give her such a powerful sense of closeness? Though deep down, Mikai thought this was a cruel prank, perhaps a digitally altered photo. All afternoon, she could not take her mind off it. Only after she drifted through for classes did she use the contact information you left to come find you at once. Yun Mo, this is harassment, so please explain where exactly this photo came from. Mikai clutched the family photo in her hand. Her voice was low, and she was clearly in a bad mood. Mikai's reaction was exactly what you expected. After all, when you first saw that photo, you had reacted the same way. You cleared your throat twice. Mikai, you may not believe this, but this little girl calls me dad. As you spoke, you pointed to Yun Youyou in the photo. Mikai's mind went blank. He was still in high school, yet he already had a daughter that old. A moment later, she asked if he had adopted her. No. She says she is my biological daughter. You answered truthfully. Mikai's mind went blank again. Before she could process that, you continued. She also says her mother is named Mikai. This time, Mikai's brain practically short-circuited. Her beautiful eyes widened slightly. Her small mouth fell open on instinct. Her face was utterly bewildered, with an adorably innocent look of confusion. 2 seconds later, Mikai swallowed. Has senior year stress gotten to you? How long has this been going on? Mikai, you're being pretty polite, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with my mind. You said helplessly. Mikai was completely dumbfounded. What was even more unbelievable was that she actually felt you were not lying. Perhaps your eyes were too clear and sincere, or perhaps the 3 people in that photo mattered too much to her. She picked up the photo and examined it closely again. The boy in the photo looked almost exactly like you. You now looked a little more youthful, with lingering boyishness in your face. Suddenly, Mikai shook her head hard. No. What kind of joke is this? I did not believe it at first either. But Youyou gave me this photo. Once you meet that child, you may feel differently. You explained patiently, because you understood. That feeling of blood kinship could never be faked. This photo proves nothing. Mikai gradually calmed down, but her tone turned stiff again. That gave you a headache. After a moment of silence, you said, could you wait for me at school? For just a little while? Believe it or not, just meet her once. Mikai said nothing. Her mind was clearly still in chaos. You could not help looking at her twice more. When a normal person heard something like this, their first reaction should have been anger. Yet she had somehow remained calm. Still, the fact that Mikai had come to find you proved that the instant she saw the photo, she, too, had begun to care. You said no more after that, and left the school. Mikai remained where she was, her face full of confusion. This clean-cut, handsome boy did not look like some weirdo. He did not seem like someone who would use absurd lies to keep pestering her. What he had said would have been a terrible joke, even on April Fool's Day. 25 minutes later, you reappeared before Mikai, holding Yun Youyou's hand. The moment Mikai saw Yun Youyou, she was suddenly at a complete loss. As if trying to escape, she took 2 steps back. Yet her gaze could not bear to leave the little girl. Mikai even felt an urge to pull her into her arms and kiss her. Mommy, I finally found you. Yun Youyou's eyes instantly sparkled. She opened her arms and threw herself at Mikai. Mommy has not hugged Youyou in days. I am not your mother. Mikai tried to dodge, but the little girl wrapped herself around her legs. Her whole body went stiff. Yun Youyou looked up, her face glowing with happiness. Mommy, why are you so pretty today? Mikai did not know what to do. She looked to you for help, but you had already moved far away. Squinting, as you studied the 2 beauties, one big and one small, there was no denying it. They truly looked like they had been made from the same mold. Seeing this, Mikai crouched down and looked at Yun Youyou. Sweetheart, I am not your mother. You are my mommy. Yun Youyou could not understand why both mommy and daddy suddenly would not recognize her, never having suffered such hurt before. She became a little crybaby again. Mikai panicked at once. Her heart felt as if it were being squeezed. Flustered, she awkwardly wiped the little girl's face. Don't cry. Don't cry. Only then did she finally understand your earlier words, that meeting the little girl would make her feel differently. Now she understood why. Because when the little girl called her mommy, she felt strangely happy and fulfilled. Half an hour later, you and Mikai were sitting in a cake shop. You ordered 2 lemonades, along with the mango milk crepe for the little girl. Youyou looked delighted, sitting beside you. Her little legs swung back and forth. She is such a little sweetheart. The young waitress set the cake before her. Then, looking curious, she asked, Are you 2 her older siblings? She looks so much like both of you. At those words, Mikai's cheeks flushed slightly. You smiled and nodded. Yun Youyou ate her sweet cake, humming an unfamiliar nursery rhyme. Her soft, sweet voice was utterly adorable. The little darling was simply precious. After a pause, you turned to Mikai. Can I just call you Keikai? Mikai forced herself to calm down and gave a soft hum of agreement. To be honest, even now, Mikai could not accept the idea of time travel. It was simply too unbelievable. No one would believe it if she told them. But when Youyou hugged her, the stirring in her heart was real. You took a sip of lemonade and cleared your throat. I think we need to settle this as soon as possible. My suggestion is that we get a DNA parentage test with Youyou. Mikai nodded. After hesitating for a moment, she softly asked, What if the results prove it is true? What do we do then? I don't know. You answered honestly. After all, to high school students, had no ability to raise a child, especially when they were still at the crucial final stretch before college entrance exams. The 2 of you looked at each other, then both turned your eyes to Youyou. Mikai noticed cream on Yun Youyou's face and instinctively pulled out a tissue. She wiped the corner of the little girl's mouth. The little girl obediently lifted her face, enjoying her mother's care. Only after she had done that did Mikai suddenly realize it. Just now I seemed just like a mother who truly adored her daughter. Suddenly, Yun Youyou innocently said, Mommy, do not be mad at Daddy anymore. Can we go home together? What? Mikai looked at you in surprise. You scratched your head. She thinks you will not come home because you fought with me. I did not know how to explain it, so I just went along with it. Mikai accepted that explanation. By the way, about the cost of the test. At that, you placed your phone on the table. It comes to around 1,000 yuan. We may need to split the cost. Your finances were limited, and you might have to support Youyou later. Besides, the person who wanted the truth was not you alone. Mikai's voice grew quieter. Sorry, things are a little difficult on my end. I do not get much spending money. Then I'll front you the money for now. You can pay me back when you are better off. Thank you. I will repay you as soon as I can. Mikai's voice was slightly dejected. Then Yun Youyou piped up. Mommy, you are talking so strangely. Mommy handles all the money at home. Why do you suddenly need to give Daddy money? Hearing that, You and Mikai finally remembered something you had overlooked. The two of you were very likely husband and wife in the future. Mikai turned her head away, not knowing how to answer Youyou. A blush slowly crept over the tips of her ears. Yun Mo and I had no connection in high school. Why would we marry in the future? And as you looked at Mikai, you also found that image hard to imagine. A moment later, you looked at the little girl and asked, Youyou, do you know how mommy and daddy got together? Did you meet on a blind date, or what? Yun Youyou did not quite understand. Her little brows furrowed. Youyou does not understand. I mean, mommy and daddy sometimes argue over who liked the other one first. So they must have gone from falling in love to getting married. And how was that an argument? They were clearly showing off their love in front of their child. Mikai felt her scalp prickle. It was hard for her to imagine herself having such a day. A day when she would be like the woman in the photo, smiling so gently and happily. I should go now. I cannot get home till late. Mikai awkwardly checked the time. She was looking for an excuse to leave. At the same time, she needed time to process everything that had happened today. When the test results are ready, please tell me right away. As she spoke, Mikai took out her phone. Let me add you on WeChat. Message me directly if anything comes up. So the two of you added each other on WeChat. You also asked Mikai for a strand of hair. Before leaving, Mikai's gaze fell on Yun Youyou's face again. Mommy, are you not coming home with us? Yun Youyou suddenly lost her taste for the cake in her hands. She felt like crying again. Does mommy not like Youyou? You quickly smoothed things over in a gentle voice. How could that be? Mommy has something very important to do. Youyou needs to be good. Mikai stopped short. Then she fled without a word. The expedited test results came quickly. At around 9 that evening, you received 2 reports on WeChat. The professional testing agency showed that Yun Youyou was biologically related to you both, with a probability of 99.99%. In other words, Yun Youyou really was your daughter. There was no doubt about it. Meanwhile, Mikai was hunched over her desk doing homework. She looked at the message you had sent. At that moment, Mikai finally gave up denying it. She accepted that her daughter had come from the future. But surprisingly, she did not feel much turmoil inside. Perhaps the moment she saw Youyou, she had already known it was true. You thought for a moment and sent another message. What do we do now? You are Youyou's father, and you are asking me? Are you trying to be an irresponsible mother? You quickly typed a reply. Do not talk nonsense. After typing those 3 words, Mikai stared at the blank test paper with a headache. In fact, all evening, she had not managed to write a single word. All that filled her mind was that impossibly adorable little girl. And you, with your clean-cut, handsome features. What were they doing now? At that thought, Mikai firmly patted her cheeks. Then she rose and left her room. In the living room, her father, Mi Jiangwo, lounged on the sofa watching television. Mikai stood in the doorway. She hesitated for a long while before calling out, Dad. Keikai. What is it? Dad, can you give me some more spending money? 1,000 yuan. Mikai pressed her lips together and said it hesitantly. But before Mi Jiangwo could speak, her stepmother's voice came from the kitchen. What do you need that much money for? Honey, do not give it to her. This is the most important time of her high school years. She should focus on her studies. Her stepmother's voice was piercing, leaving Mikai with a faint, nagging ache. She did not know how to explain herself. She only lowered her head and stood there stubbornly in silence. Keikai, do not listen to your mother talking nonsense. Go back to your room first. As Mi Jiangwo said this, he lowered his voice. Dad will bring it to you in a little while. 10 minutes later, Mi Jiangwo knocked on Mikai's bedroom door and came in. He held a stack of cash in his hand. Mikai quickly stood up. Dad, I am sorry. Mi Jiangwo smiled. It is all right. If you do not have enough money, be sure to tell Dad. Our Keikai is a grown young lady now. If you see a pretty dress or something you like, go ahead and buy it. Mikai did not know what to say. She nodded silently. She reached out and took the money. Mi Jiangwo smiled. Just as he was about to keep checking on his daughter, Mikai's half-sister suddenly called out from next door. Dad, Mom, where's the doll I bought with my friends yesterday? Where did you put it? It should be in the cabinet. Mi Jiangwo hurried out. Dad, hurry and find it for me. I want to sleep holding it tonight. All right, wait. Dad will find it for you. Listening to the coddling conversation next door, Mikai lowered her long lashes. The thank you on her lips never made it out. As a child, Mikai had been the Mi family's little princess, showered with endless love. But after her mother died, her father found another woman, and the family gained a younger half-sister. Everything changed. Her father was still her father, and still treated her well. It was just that he favored her younger half-sister, who was still in middle school. After that, Mikai carefully put the money in her backpack and picked up her phone to message you. What are you two doing now? Meanwhile, you were taking Yun Youyou around the mall. 25 minutes had passed before you saw the message. You quickly replied, we are at the mall. I bought Youyou a few outfits. You also attached a photo. When Mikai received it, she quickly opened the photo. Yun Youyou was wearing white bunny pajamas. The little girl was beaming, her eyes curved into crescents. Like a playful little fairy, Mikai held her phone close. The faint gloom in her heart seemed to fade away. She was cute enough to be a phone wallpaper. Then she received a short voice message. She tapped it open. Yun Youyou's sweet voice immediately came through the phone. Mommy, I am a little bunny now. Cute, right? Mikai listened to it again and again. Finally, she murmured to herself, so Youyou really is my daughter from the future. Mikai had always kept her feelings hidden, burying them deep inside. But even she did not realize that her eyes held a rare tenderness now. Then she pressed her thin red lips together and typed a reply. Super cute. After buying the clothes, you took the little girl home, looking at all the bags in your hands, then checking your bank balance. With barely anything left in it, you felt helpless. Honestly, Youyou was very well behaved and adorable. But she did have one flaw. She must have grown up in a very privileged environment. She was a true little princess. Whenever she saw something pretty that she liked, like clothes or dolls, she would take your hand and sweetly beg you to buy it. And faced with this soft, cuddly little girl, you simply could not say no. Youyou, how big is the place where you usually live? Is it bigger than this? You asked casually. Hearing that, Yun Youyou looked around the room. Then she pouted and muttered, this is about the size of the bathroom at home. You were instantly dumbfounded. It seemed your future career had been wildly successful, and you were completely devoted to your daughter. But right now, I am just a broke high school student. Never mind raising a daughter. When I buy toilet paper at the supermarket, I spend forever comparing prices. And Mikai, too, did not seem particularly well off. Your head began to ache. This was a problem. How could you afford to raise a child? But where was the system? My daughter had traveled through time to get here. Where was the doting dad system? Why did I get nothing? Half an hour later, after showering, you took out a child's toothbrush and put toothpaste on it. Youyou, come brush your teeth and wash your face. Yun Youyou gurgled as she finished brushing her teeth. I want to sleep with daddy tonight. You wanted to refuse, but then you saw the hope in your daughter's eyes. In the end, you could not bring yourself to say no. But do not steal daddy's blanket. Yun Youyou happily jumped onto the bed, sticking up her bottom as she buried her head under the blanket. It was obvious that sleeping with daddy had her thrilled. Just then, your phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. When you answered, Mikai's quiet voice came through. Yunmo, are you to home? We are already home. I do not know how to buy clothes for a little girl, so I only picked out one set of pajamas. When you get the chance, take her to the mall. Alright, we can find time this weekend. It is not very convenient on my end. As Mikai trailed off, her voice sounded a little embarrassed. You cut her off. I live alone. Youyou can stay with me. But Youyou seemed very happy whenever she saw you. Of course, Mikai could see that. In just the short time you spent together today, your mind had already been filled by that soft, adorable little bundle, Youyou. Completely. The Mikai took a deep breath. Yunmo, let us meet sometime tomorrow. Somewhere private. She kept her voice low, sounding distinctly awkward and nervous. You could practically picture her clutching her phone and glancing around. It was probably because, in all her life, this was her first time asking a boy out. At that, you teased, I know. After all, it is your first time. Mikai fell silent. Your words seemed to leave her upset. She could not help giving a quiet huff. You quickly turned serious again. I was joking. Just contact me whenever you are free. Oh, do you want to talk to Youyou? Yun Youyou's eyes lit up beside you. Is that mommy? She cried. Youyou wants to say goodnight to mommy. Mikai froze on the other end of the call. Then came a faint sound. like a glass being knocked over on a table. You could even hear her slightly quick, uneven breathing. Never mind. Though Mikai tried to remain calm, her voice still trembled slightly. After saying that, she hung up as though fleeing for her life. At that moment, a rosy blush spread up from her neck, quickly flooding her earlobes and cheeks. Youyou's words still echoed in her mind. I want to say goodnight to mommy. I am only a senior in high school. The next morning, when you woke up, you felt something small lying on top of you. When you opened your eyes, Yun Youyou was draped over you, sleeping soundly, with drool at the corner of her mouth. You smiled at her fondly, then gently lifted her off you. You got up to wash up, trying not to wake her. By the time you returned with breakfast, Yun Youyou was awake. She did not seem fully awake from her dreams yet, kneeling sleepily on the bed. Her cheeks puffed out in a sulk. Daddy, Youyou wants a kiss. You set the breakfast on the table. Youyou is a big girl now. You cannot be so clingy with daddy. Yun Youyou looked very unhappy. She tugged hard at the bunny ears on her head. I hate you, daddy. Hearing that, you were taken aback. It was not like you had done anything. Could this little girl have a morning temper? A morning temper was not a good thing. No one in the Yun family had that habit. So, who had she inherited it from? Not until breakfast was over did the little girl fully wake up. The angry little pufferfish became that soft, adorable little bundle again. Daddy, Youyou is so bored at home alone. I had so many friends at elementary school before. Can Youyou hold on for a couple of days? You will soon make new friends. Daddy will come back at noon. If you get hungry, there are strawberries in the fridge. There are snacks on the coffee table. You crouched down and patted her little head. Yun Youyou was a very sensible girl. Before you left, she even gave you a kiss. Youyou will be good at home. Daddy, you have to bring mommy home soon, too. The little girl's pink lips were soft and warm, and somehow put your heart at ease. Then you left with a smile. All the way there, you thought. You really could not leave Youyou home alone forever. Figuring out how to get her into school was crucial. Once you got to school, Fang Yuan immediately came over, his face stern. Explain yourself. What is going on between you and Mikai, the school beauty? You were speechless. You casually replied, we have a daughter. Fang Yuan went blank. His brain nearly short-circuited from the shock. Just kidding. She is the school beauty. Why would she ever be interested in me? Do not overthink it. That immediately satisfied Fang Yuan. As everyone knows, good brothers can suffer together. But heaven forbid one of them drives a Land Rover. Suddenly Liu Ryan, their friend from the next desk, cut in. Why could she not be interested in a Mo? He is good looking too, I would guess. A guy like him appeals to women of all ages. Hearing Liu Ryan's words, Fang Yuan scoffed. Liu Ryan, do you have a crush on a Mo? As everyone knows, if you call my best friend ugly, I will start insulting your parents. But if you call my best friend handsome, then I have even more reason to come after you. Liu Ryan curled her lip. Go away and play somewhere else. What I really mean is, little Fang, you are the ugliest one here. Watching the two trade barbs, you smiled warmly. Under the crushing pressure of the college entrance exams, everyone truly needed something to ease their frayed nerves. At noon, Mikai sent you a message, asking where to meet. After thinking it over, you decided to meet behind the school, outside the convenience store at the end of the alley. After waiting about 5 minutes, Mikai slowly walked over. She was dressed as usual, clean and elegant, yet impossible to ignore. No wonder she had firmly held onto the top spot as Akunhai's boy's dream girl. Once Mikai reached you, you casually asked, do you have a morning temper? At those words, Mikai looked utterly stunned. After hesitating a moment, she asked, how did you know? Mikai's morning temper was indeed terrible. When she woke up, everything irritated her. She was the kind who could kick even a passing dog twice. So every morning, she got up early and left home. That way, she would not upset her stepmother or stepsister. But this was her deepest secret. Just as I thought, Youyou inherited it from you. When she was angry with me this morning, I did not even dare answer her. Then, in the most polite tone you could manage, you said, that habit is not very good, actually. I was born this way. I cannot change it. Mikai unhappily pressed her thin red lips together. If you do not like it, why would you still marry me? Otherwise, you will just have to put up with my morning temper. In truth, compared to Youyou, Mikai found it even harder to adjust to you standing before her. After all, her blood relationship with Youyou was undeniable. But between her and you, There had been no journey from love to marriage. The two of you had only known each other for 2 days. You smiled helplessly. I need to go back at noon. I am worried about leaving Youyou home alone. Do you want to come with me? Mikai hesitated. To her surprise, she did not find the idea too objectionable. All right, but we need to be back early. I still have worksheets to finish. A few minutes later, the two of you sat together in the back of a bus. Mikai was a little awkward at first, but gradually relaxed. Yunmo, after I went home, I thought a lot about Youyou. First, and most importantly, keep track of every cent you spend on Youyou. I need to cover half of it. Once I have money, I will definitely pay you back. Seeing how serious Mikai was, you were a little surprised. After some thought, you said, you do not need to pay me for that. I am Youyou's father. It is normal for me to earn money to support my wife and child. Do not talk nonsense. Who is your wife? At your words, Mikai immediately turned and glared at you. Yet her cheeks could not help turning slightly red. You gave an awkward laugh, gesturing for Mikai to continue. I live with my family right now. There is no way I can tell them about this. So Youyou can probably only stay with you. When I get to college, I will move out. Mikai felt a little embarrassed. When it came to Youyou, it seemed she could not help with anything. You nodded at that. That is fine. But Youyou really wants to see you. Try to spend time with her every day. Mikai pressed her lips together. After a long while, she slowly nodded. Then she raised the most important issue. For Youyou to fit into society and grow up and attend school like any other little girl, she needs legal identification. That truly was the problem troubling you most. You rubbed your head as you thought. Mikai did not disturb you. Her thoughts simply began to drift. If life had followed its normal course, one day in the future, I would marry Yunmo and then give birth to Youyou. But now Youyou has come from the future, and I met Yunmo ahead of time. Does that mean the course of our lives has already been changed too? Would we still get married in the future and then have Youyou? Would that not leave us with 2 Youyous? After an unknown amount of time, you broke the silence. As for Youyou's identity, I will figure something out. Hearing you say that, Mikai snapped out of her thoughts. She still looked a little dazed. Do you really have a solution? Will it be difficult? You shook your head. Either way, I will find a solution. You do not need to worry so much. Mikai felt a little downcast. She took out 1,000 yuan. This is for the test. You did not refuse it. You accepted it directly. After all, you still had to support Youyou. Making money was just as much of a headache. When you arrived at the rental apartment, the two of you had just stepped inside. When Yun Youyou ran out of her room, the instant she saw Mikai, her eyes instantly lit up. She threw herself into her arms. Mom, welcome home. Mikai looked distinctly awkward, but she could not resist crouching down to hug her. Yun Youyou stood on tiptoe and kissed her mother on the right cheek. Then she ran over to you. Mikai watched as you found her a pair of slippers, and a strange feeling suddenly rose in her heart. Why did this feel a little like an old married couple? Once inside, Mikai realized your place was much cleaner than she had imagined. It was not messy like a typical bachelor's home. Instead, everything was remarkably neat. That put her much more at ease. Youyou, what did you do this morning? Avoiding her daughter's sparkling gaze, Mikai asked as gently as she could. I watched television, then waited for mommy and daddy to come home. Yun Youyou answered in her sweet little voice. You took strawberries from the refrigerator and set them before mother and daughter. Have some fruit first. Mikai thanked you, then removed the leaves from a strawberry and placed it in Youyou's hand. Mommy, Youyou slept with daddy last night. Mommy never used to allow it. Yun Youyou's cheeks were rosy, and she looked utterly delighted. Is that so? Mikai asked doubtfully. She was also curious about her future self. Could I be a rather strict mother? Yes. Mommy is so stingy. She is always competing with Youyou for daddy. Yun Youyou pouted as she grumbled. Hearing that, you casually chimed in from beside them. Doesn't that make Youyou mad at mommy? Of course it does. Then mommy asks daddy, if Youyou and I fell into the water, who would you save first? Yun Youyou looked completely innocent. A bad feeling suddenly came over you. And then mommy makes daddy kneel on a washboard. At that, you sharply turn your head toward the campus beauty sitting on the sofa. Your eyes held a rather wary look. Mikai was completely baffled. People did say a daughter was her father's little sweetheart, but she did not believe her future self would be jealous of her own daughter. Noticing your look, Mikai pressed her lips together. What is that supposed to mean? Do you think I am the kind of woman who, at the slightest disagreement, makes her husband kneel on the floor? Even if I were, you would just have to put up with it. You stopped talking to the mother and daughter and went into the kitchen to make lunch. After watching television with Youyou for a while, Mikai entered the kitchen to help. As you dealt with the shrimp you bought that morning, you casually said, "No need to trouble yourself. Spend more time with Youyou." Watching your painfully clumsy technique, Mikai could not help asking, "Yunmo, have you ever handled fresh food before?" Your hands stopped. You gathered your thoughts. "I know shrimp become cooked shrimp when you put them in a pot." And Mikai pressed, "Shrimp are alive before they die." Mikai promptly shooed you aside. Youyou was right after all. After saying that, you sank into thought, setting aside whether Mikai and I in this life would end up together. The balance of power at home was already becoming clear. Of course, Mikai knew exactly what you meant. She said with some irritation, "Then watch yourself in this life. Do not ever fall into my hands again, or I will beat you senseless." Once the meal was ready, Yun Youyou stared at the spread of food as traitorous drool slipped from her mouth. Seeing her daughter's shining eyes, Mikai felt an unexpected sense of accomplishment. You took a bite and gave a very insincere assessment. "It is nothing special, just a little better than mine." Mikai could not be bothered to respond. She lowered her head and served Youyou some food, reminding her to eat slowly. At that moment, even Mikai herself did not realize it. Whenever she looked at Youyou, her face would unconsciously soften with tenderness. After lunch, once the dishes were cleared away, Mikai looked at you and cautiously asked, "Yunmo, how are your grades? I can get into an average university. My grades will not fall, but they will not rise either. I cannot compare with you." You answered frankly, "I see." Mikai fell silent, seemingly deep in thought. Naturally, you could guess what worried her. With a sigh, you said, "I wanted to get along with you too as an ordinary person, but for Youyou's sake, I can only get into a university in the same city as you. Preferably the same university." Mikai raised her head, her gaze a little strange. "Are you secretly looking down on me?" You gave a quiet snort. "No." After saying that, Mikai added silently, "Not secretly anyway." Then she pressed her lips together and said, "I should be the one to work hard and get into a university in the same city as you. I think that would be easier." Campus beauty me, that was a pretty vicious jab. You looked utterly speechless. "By the way, you are a top student. Why would a top student like you marry an average underachiever like me?" Hearing that, Mikai grew irritated again. She could not help huffing. "How would I know? You must have tricked me into coming home with you." The two of you spent a little more time with Youyou. Soon, it was time for class. Naturally, the little girl did not want to part with you. Mikai coaxed her for quite some time and promised to come see her again tomorrow. Youyou clung to her mother's long legs and would not let go. Whenever mommy and daddy used to go out, they would always kiss Youyou. Mikai had no choice but to lean over and kiss her cheek. Yun Youyou's eyes curved into crescents, and daddy too. Following her example, you kissed her other cheek. "Mommy and daddy, come home early, okay? Youyou will miss you." Both of you felt oddly affected. It was as if you truly were a married couple heading out and saying goodbye to your daughter. As you walked, you gave it some thought and said, "Youyou is very well behaved, but it is too cruel to leave her home alone. Tomorrow happens to be the weekend. I am planning to take Youyou to see my aunt tomorrow." Mikai looked at you in confusion. You explained, "My uncle works at the police station. I want to ask him about Youyou." After saying that, you sighed. "It would be easier if Youyou were a little older. I could just say she is my little sister, my dad's illegitimate daughter." Mikai hesitated briefly before saying, "I will go with you." Without giving it much thought, you agreed immediately. When you arrived in the classroom, Liu Ryan was at her desk working through practice papers. Fang Yuan was sprawled over his desk, taking a nap. Liu Ryan grinned mischievously when she saw you. "Amo, do you really have something going on with Campus Beauty Me?" Speechless, you took out your textbook. "I am not interested in women." Liu Ryan still felt something was off. "Then what are you interested in?" "Making money." "Ryan, let me ask you something. Do you know any ways for high school students to make money?" Liu Ryan froze for a moment. "Are you really short on money? How much do you need? I can transfer it to you now. Between my New Year gift money and allowance over the years, I have saved 250,000 yuan. Hearing Liu Ryan's words, you pondered for a moment. but ultimately shook your head and refused. No need. I will come to you if I really need it. Liu Ryan did not press further. She smiled. All right, let us get barbecue tonight, my treat. Hearing that, you considered it for a moment. Then I will bring someone along. My 8-year-old cousin has been staying at my place lately. After school, you went home first to pick up Youyou, your daughter, who softly called you daddy. You could not resist taking a photo and sending it to Mikai. She really looks like a little princess. My daughter is so pretty. By the time you came downstairs with Youyou, Liu Ryan and Fang Yuan had been waiting for ages. Fang Yuan grumbled impatiently. What took you so long? You are so slow. Dawdling like a girl. I am starving. I could eat a whole pig right now, believe it or not. But he quickly fell silent, because he noticed. You were holding the hand of a pretty little girl. When Yun Youyou saw them, her face lit up with delight. Uncle Fang Yuan. Annie Ryan. Long time no see. Huh, uncle. Why do you suddenly have hair? The moment she said that, everyone present was stunned. Fang Yuan clenched his teeth. When have I ever not had hair? And you call me uncle the moment you see me. Little girl, where are your manners? Then he looked at you with deep resentment. Amo, what strange ideas have you been putting into your cousin's head? You look startled. You looked at Fang Yuan's thick head of hair. Only you knew just how much truth was in Youyou's words. It seemed Fang Yuan would become a powerhouse. The stronger he got, the bolder he would become. Liu Ryan also curiously looked over the angelic Yun Youyou. Then she shook her head. She does not look much like you. You froze for a moment, suddenly feeling nervous. You worried that perceptive Liu Ryan might notice something unusual. Just then, Liu Ryan declared with certainty. She does not look like your cousin. She must be your real little sister. You breathed a sigh of relief, picked Youyou up, and openly admitted, that is right. But she is not my real little sister either. She is actually my daughter. Hearing you say that, Yun Youyou happily wrapped her arms around your neck and called, Daddy. Liu Ryan looked blank. You are always making things up. Come on, let us eat. Fang Yuan rolled his eyes. What are you teaching this kid all day? Wouldn't her real dad beat you up? At that moment, they both believed. You and your little sister had teamed up to mess with them for fun. You smiled. If you had tried to hide Youyou's identity, they might have grown suspicious. But when you actually said it so openly, they did not believe you instead. Liu Ryan had chosen a newly opened shopping mall. It was running promotional events, so the place was bustling. Youyou pointed at a claw machine. Daddy, I want that one. You looked over. Inside was a tiny, fluffy white rabbit. Okay, after dinner, Daddy will bring you back to win it. Okay, win two. One for Youyou, and one for Mommy. Fang Yuan, walking ahead, asked with a smile, Little girl, who is your mommy? Mommy is Mommy, of course. Uncle Fang Yuan asked such strange questions. Yun Youyou replied in her soft, sweet voice. Hearing her call him uncle again, Fang Yuan's expression changed. Call me big brother, and I will win you a doll later. Yun Youyou immediately looked displeased. Seeing this, Liu Ryan could not resist reaching out to pinch her soft cheek. Little sister, do not listen to him. This uncle is not a good person. Make sure you stay far away from him. Yes, I am not a good person. Who was it that got bullied in elementary school, then came running to me in tears, tugging my sleeve and calling me brother? Liu Ryan got flustered. That was ages ago. I was young and foolish then. The two began another round of bickering. After dinner, you kept your promise, and won rabbit plushies for Youyou from the claw machine. Youyou hugged to fluffy rabbit plushies, her eyes shining with delight. She could not resist rubbing her soft cheek against the rabbits' faces. They are so cute. After everyone said goodbye, you held Youyou's hand and walked home. Yun Youyou was still preoccupied with her rabbit plushies. The next morning, at 8:30, Mikai arrived at your door, still bleary-eyed. You said, Youyou is not up yet. Come in first. When she entered the living room, Mikai immediately spotted two white rabbit plushies on the sofa. They caught her attention at once. Seeing that, you casually picked up one of the rabbit plushies and placed it in Mikai's hands. You said nonchalantly, this is for you. Youyou said you like rabbits too, so she insisted I win one for you. Mikai held the rabbit blankly, a little at a loss. She could only clutch it tightly in her hands. Make yourself comfortable for a moment. I will wake Youyou up. Youyou's mommy is here, you said as you walked into the bedroom. Only then did Mikai lower her head to look at the rabbit plushie in her hands. A gentle softness filled her eyes. She could not help murmuring, "It is so cute." In fact, it had been a very, very long time since anyone had given her a little rabbit plushie. The little rabbit charm hanging from her school bag had been a gift from her mother when she was little. It was also her most precious possession. After breakfast, Yun Youyou lay limply in Mikai's arms. Her pout was nearly pointing at the ceiling. She looked like an angry, puffed-up pufferfish. Mikai felt a little awkward. This little girl's world-weary look first thing in the morning really was exactly like her own. "Youyou, aren't you happy to see mommy? Your pout is sticking out so far. It is not pretty at all." Mikai tried to coax her. "I am not happy. Mommy disturbed my sleep." With that, she buried her head in Mikai's arms. Mikai pressed her lips together. For some reason, she felt a little stifled. Her ears suddenly began to burn. Seeing this, Yu gave a hollow smile. "I told you. This little girl gets very cranky in the morning." No idea who she got that from. Mikai's expression froze. After a moment, she replied stiffly, "Then remember this. When you find a wife, make sure she does not get cranky in the morning." "Fine. I will make it a house rule. Anyone who gives me morning attitude gets a spanking." Mikai gave a cold huff. "Youyou, Daddy says he is going to spank you." You immediately denied it. "I could never bring myself to spank Youyou." Mikai stared at you in surprise. Once she understood what you meant, her face instantly turned scarlet. About 25 minutes passed before Yun Youyou finally shook off her sleepy mood. Her temper flared quickly and faded just as fast. Clinging to her mommy's arm, she giggled sweetly without stopping. You crouched beside the coffee table and packed up the console and scattered game discs, putting them all into your backpack. "You to play a little longer. I am heading out, but I will be back soon." Mikai asked blankly, "Where are you going?" "To sell the console and game discs. The college entrance exams are coming up soon, so I will not have time to play anyway. They are still worth a little money, so I should sell them now," you explained casually. Soon, only the mother and daughter were left in the living room. Only then did Mikai realize, does Youyou's daddy really like video games? Youyou gave a sweet little hum of agreement. He loves them. There are so many game consoles at home. Daddy wipes them with a towel several times every day. Youyou loves sitting in Daddy's lap and watching him play. Mikai looked at the empty coffee table without saying a word. So it really was for Youyou. He clearly loved those things. Yet in front of her, he had pretended not to care much about them. Mikai had never truly understood you. Her mother had died early, and her new family had not been a happy one. She had always been rather detached when it came to love, so she had never believed she could ever love someone passionately. Because of her stepmother and stepsister, she never hoped anyone would love her deeply either. But now, Mikai suddenly felt that at least, in Youyou's world, she must truly have loved you deeply. She deeply loved this sensitive boy, whose slight macho streak could make him seem a little awkward. At that thought, Mikai gently pinched her daughter's little cheek. "Youyou, do not get angry with Daddy when you wake up in the morning anymore, okay? I do not want to be mad at Daddy either. Daddy is the best daddy in the world, but mornings make me so grumpy." Suddenly, Yun Youyou held out her little pinky. "Mommy, pinky promise with Youyou. From now on, Youyou and Mommy, even if we are really, really grumpy when we wake up, will not get angry with Daddy." Mikai paused in surprise. Her feelings suddenly became strangely complicated. Going by what Youyou had said, her future self must get cranky in the mornings quite often too. After a long moment, she finally held out her finger and hooked pinkies with her daughter. "You really were not gone long. You returned in less than half an hour." You looked at the mother and daughter watching television on the sofa. "What are you talking about?" Yun Youyou jumped off the sofa. "It is a secret. Daddy, Mommy and Youyou just made a pinky promise." When you looked her way, Mikai turned her head aside, her ears burning slightly. "It is a secret. We cannot tell you." You scratched your head and did not press further. "Come on, let us buy Youyou some clothes first. We will see Annie this afternoon." After leaving the house, you chose the nearest mall. Holding your phone, you walked ahead, checking your Alipay balance. The console and game discs had sold for a little over 3,000 yuan altogether. That should be enough for daily expenses. Even after buying Youyou clothes, there would still be plenty left. But Youyou would definitely need to start school eventually. You were working something out in your mind. which made you seem rather quiet. Meanwhile, Mikai walked behind, holding Yun Youyou's hand. Her expression was unusually gentle. Seeing her daughter so happy made her happy too, for no reason she could explain. This pair of beauties, one grown and one little, walked down the street, drawing constant glances from passers-by. Some were practically drooling over them. Mikai. A voice Mikai knew all too well called out. She turned around stiffly. Sure enough, it was her stepsister, Meili. She was surrounded by a group of middle school girls. Every one of them was dressed in a flashy style. With a cup of milk tea in hand, Meili was quite sweet-looking and far from low-key. She even wore a light touch of makeup. She stood out even among the other girls. But at the moment, her face was clearly filled with confusion, especially when she saw Youyou holding Mikai's hand, and you standing beside them. Meili, do you know them? One of the girls beside Meili asked in surprise, mainly stunned by how beautiful Mikai was. Meili frowned and replied, She is my sister, but we do not have the same mother. Then she looked at Mikai, her tone slightly displeased. If you came to the mall, you could have just told Mom. You were hanging out with classmates. Even if you were just relaxing over the weekend, Mom would not have said anything. Why did you lie and say you were going to the library? Mikai gave a non-committal hum. She lowered her eyes and said nothing more. She only tightened her hold on Youyou's hand. Sis, who is he? And where did this child come from? Meili continued to press her. Yun Youyou glanced at her and immediately buried her face in her mommy's arms. She looked a little upset. Mikai's expression barely changed. She answered softly, A friend. I am only asking. You little penny pincher, do not worry. I will not tell Dad and Mom. Meili clearly did not believe her, and there was a nagging edge to her voice. After all, in all these years, even she had never seen her sister out with a boy before. Is he your boyfriend? Or is he pursuing you? Mikai stayed silent. The atmosphere grew awkward for no apparent reason. Even the middle school girls who had come out with Meili could sense it. The relationship between the sisters was complicated. With her friends watching, Meili felt as though her friendliness had been met with coldness. It was humiliating. She was thoroughly annoyed. She clicked her tongue softly. Sis, do you have to keep acting like this? We are family too. You do not have to hide everything from us all the time. Why are you always giving Mom and me the cold shoulder? Mikai found her words almost laughable. To be fair, she had done more than her share of chores at home. She had never fought for anything since childhood. Yet her stepmother and stepsister simply did not like her. Her stepmother was, in truth, a good mother. They just were not meant to be close. Thinking of this, Mikai took a deep breath. I am 18 this year. I am an adult now. I can have my own life and my own friends. Meili's lips moved, but she did not know what to say. Finally, she stamped her foot angrily. Fine, do whatever you want. I cannot be bothered with you. With an attitude like yours. No wonder Dad and Mom do not like you. No one will ever like you. Mikai said nothing, but then she heard you laugh beside her, just as she felt upset and confused. You spoke in a low voice. I did not expect. Your little sister sure has a filthy mouth. Meili had sharp ears. She could not help rolling her eyes at you. Are you crazy? When did I insult her? You gave a short laugh. Little girl, stop running your mouth. Have you no shame? What did you say? Meili had never heard anyone say something like that to her face. There was not a single curse word, but it was vicious nonetheless. It was enough to make any girl furious. Sis, who is he? Meili's cheeks flushed bright red. She even tried to shove you, but you did not budge. Instead, she staggered back a step herself. You did not get angry. You merely patted her shoulder. Treat your sister properly from now on. Do not bully her all day for no reason. Understand? Your look made Meili's heart tighten. She instinctively stepped back. She keenly sensed that, although this boy's face showed little emotion, he carried an inexplicable, oppressive presence. There, that is better. Be good, and your sister will buy you treats later. Your expression softened, and only then did a slow smile spread across your face. All right, it is nothing serious. Go have fun with your classmates. Hearing you speak as if scolding a child, Meili moved her lips, but wisely chose not to continue. She returned to her classmates and left with a dark expression. Only then did Mikai snap out of it. To be honest, she was a little frightened too. For a moment, she had even thought that the next second, you would reach out and slap Meili across the mouth. You shrugged. I only held back because I was afraid she would go home and tattle. That would make things difficult for you at home. I did not even give your sister a dirty look. She is spoiled rotten." Holding Youyou's hand, Mikai looked up and murmured, "Why did you suddenly get so fierce? Back in middle school, Feng Yuan and I were always out causing trouble. We did not even blink when we fought, but I turned over a new leaf later." You answered honestly. Mikai was slightly stunned. After a while, she complained softly, "But she did not actually insult me just now." Hearing that, you said, "No. She said that no one likes you." Mikai froze. Then, as though she realized something, the skin behind her ears began to burn again. "But then you continued. Was she not insulting Youyou too?" Mikai realized she had misunderstood. Suddenly, she felt a little defiant. The words slipped out before she could stop them. "Then how terrible a person would you have to be to like me in the future?" That left you completely stunned. Was that even something a human being should say? After that little episode, you and Mikai took Youyou shopping for clothes all morning. Mother and daughter had similar taste. Whatever children's clothes Mikai found pretty, Youyou liked too. "Why not try this one too? I think it would suit you perfectly." The saleswoman pointed to one side, marveling inwardly at how stunning the three of you were. Mikai looked where she pointed. The next second, she saw 3 cute, patterned pajama sets, which turned out to be matching family pajamas. "I think they would suit your family perfectly. Would Big Brother like to try one on too?" As she spoke, the saleswoman looked at you, sitting in a chair on your phone. Mistaken for Youyou's brother, you looked up, and immediately refused inwardly. "I am a grown man. How could I wear something like that? Not unless I jumped from here first." "Daddy, Youyou likes it." Yun Youyou launched into full-on pleading mode. At that, you reasoned with her. "But if Daddy wears such childish clothes, Uncle Feng Yuan will laugh at me. Please, Daddy, you are the best." In her soft, sweet little voice, Yun Youyou clung tightly to your hand and shook it back and forth. The saleswoman nearly melted at the sound of it. Inside, she was screaming, "Buy it for her. Hurry up and buy it for her." Damn it, you affectionately pinched Youyou's nose. "You are already pulling this trick at your age. Who knows how many boys you will wrap around your little finger when you grow up." Watching this scene, Mikai suddenly understood something Youyou had said before. Mom always asks Dad, "Who do you love more, me or your daughter?" This little rascal truly was an expert at acting cute. She was even more clingy than Daddy's little sweetheart. "You two can try them on first. It is fine if you do not like them. We have a camera in the store. Even if you do not buy them, it would be lovely to keep a photo as a memento." The saleswoman wore a fond smile the entire time. She thought the two of you were high school students, playing house with your little sister. You and Mikai did not refuse again. Ever since Youyou had come back from the future, neither of you had taken photos with your daughter. 2.5 minutes later, you had changed into the pajamas and stood before the mirror in the main room. A little while later, Mikai led Youyou out of the fitting room. An unnatural flush tinged her cheeks. The saleswoman immediately set up the camera. "Come on, let us take the photo. You do not look like you are playing house. You really look like a family." The three of you stood before the camera, captured in a perfectly composed photograph. Soon, the saleswoman sent the photo to both of you on WeChat. You opened WeChat and looked at the photo. You said nothing, but you ultimately bought the matching family pajamas. Mikai received the photo too. She lowered her head and opened it. Then the corners of her lips slowly lifted. Her eyes came alive with a radiant light. After some thought, she created a new album on her phone and placed the photo inside. Then she named the album Youyou. When she finished, Mikai put away her phone. Looking up, she saw you walking ahead. Youyou rested softly in one of your arms, while your other hand carried everything you had bought for your daughter. The sight made Mikai pause. Then she took out her phone again, opened the album, and slowly deleted the name Youyou. She changed it to Youyou and Yunmo. At 2:30 that afternoon, the three of you arrived at a residential complex on time. Mikai did not forget to remind Yunmo, "Stick to the story we agreed on. Just say Youyou is my younger sister, and that I asked you to help me with this matter. In any case, do not let your aunt and uncle suspect anything." You shrugged. "Do not worry." After you rang the doorbell, your Aunt Ying quickly opened the door. Then she poked you in the cheek. "Almo, you are here. What made you suddenly come visit me? Did you want your aunt to take you out for fun?" You looked helpless. "Annie, how old are you, anyway?" Stop acting like a little girl all the time. Ying put her hands on her hips, looking adorably defiant. It is called staying young at heart, all right? Before she finished, she froze. She had noticed the two beauties standing behind you. One grown and one little. Yun Youyou's eyes lit up as well. So daddy brought me to see great Annie. Ying looked at the little girl, at the deep dimples in her cheeks, and her expression slowly stiffened. Why does she look so much like one of the Yuns? The next moment, her face darkened unusually. Amo, did your father cheat on your mother? Annie, what are you thinking? My dad could never have fathered a child this beautiful. Hearing that, Ying came to her senses. That is true. So who are they? You hurriedly explained. She is my friend, and this is her younger sister. Annie, I came to see you about something important today. Do not leave us standing outside. Come in first. I will get you some slippers. Ying quickly stepped aside. Though she was full of questions, in the small living room, Mikai sat on the sofa holding Youyou's hand. She did not say a word, only daring to stare at her toes. Have some water. Ying poured them to glasses of water. She wore a smile, doing her best to make the impossibly beautiful girl before her feel less nervous. Thank you, Aunt Yun. Mikai was very reserved, like a girl visiting her boyfriend's home for the first time. You knew exactly what she was worried about. After all, Youyou truly was part of the Yun family. But to conceal certain things, they could not let Youyou meet the family who loved her. It really was cruel. Suddenly, Ying gave you a meaningful look. Amo, speaking of which, your grandmother called me today. After saying that, she seemed to remember something, and headed toward a room. You just sit here for a moment. I am going to talk to my aunt. It is nothing serious. You reassured Mikai. After you left, Youyou finally could not help blinking her big eyes. Mommy, why will you not let Youyou call her great auntie? Mikai stroked her little head. Because she is not your great auntie yet. She will be in more than 10 years. You will understand when you grow up. Meanwhile, in the other room, Ying studied you suspiciously. Talk. Who are those two girls, the grown-up and the child? Annie, you might not believe me when I tell you, but that little girl is my daughter. You said with complete sincerity. Ying looked utterly bewildered. A moment later, she snapped. Quit messing around. When she was born, you had not even hit puberty yet. Your aunt checked on that herself. You looked deeply embarrassed. When you were little, your aunt really did love pulling down your pants. Ying put her hands on her hips and pressed on. So who is that little girl? Hurry up and tell me. She is my friend's younger sister. Not long after she was born, traffickers kidnapped her. They only found her again recently. Without household registration, she cannot enroll in school. Isn't Brother Zhao a police officer? So they asked me to come and ask about it. Hearing that, Ying tugged your ear. What do you mean, Brother Zhao? Watch your manners. He is your uncle now. You looked equally annoyed, but I have always called him Brother Zhao. I cannot break the habit. Annie, you are a cradle robber. Brother Zhao's real name was Zhao Huaizhen. He was your uncle by marriage. A full 7 years younger than your aunt. Back when you were in elementary school, he was in college. So, technically, he was of your generation, and an older brother who always took good care of you. Later, somehow, Zhao Huaizhen and your aunt fell for each other. At your words, Ying blushed furiously. What do you mean, rob the cradle? When it comes to love, what would a little brat like you know about love? All right. You need your uncle's help, yet you still have the nerve to act so entitled. Ying waved her hand, quickly dropping the subject. But if this is that girl's family matter, why are you so upset? Do not ask about a lovesick fool's business. After you said that, Ying clearly did not believe you. Helplessly, you changed your answer. Fine. She is my girlfriend. Ying's expression relaxed. Why did you not just say so from the start? Look at you, making something of yourself. You have such a beautiful girlfriend. Wait, that is not right. Aren't you about to take your college entrance exams? So, Annie, do not tell my parents. And when we go back out, do not say anything careless either. Girls are easily embarrassed. If it were not for her sister, she would not have come here today. Ying pondered for a moment. But no matter how I look at her, she seems like one of our Yuns. You quickly changed the subject. Maybe we just have a connection. I feel a strange connection with her too. By the way, Annie, can this be done? Where are the adults in her family? Why did only her sister bring her here? Ying looked puzzled. Her mother passed away. Her father started a new family. As for her stepmother, she is rather, you know. You know what I mean, Annie, you explained. I see. Then is there anything that can prove the little girl's identity? You shook your head. There was a DNA parentage test, but we could not show that to just anyone. Who knew what consequences it might bring? There is nothing else. Then it definitely cannot be done. There is no need to even ask your uncle. These days, it is very difficult. Even if she was taken by traffickers right after birth, there should still be documents like a birth certificate. Ying said firmly. After your aunt's explanation, you roughly understood. As for Youyou's legal registration, there truly was no solution for now. When the two of you came out of the room, Mikai was still sitting properly on the sofa, looking rather nervous. As for Youyou, she had long since fallen asleep in her mother's arms. Seeing this, you lowered your voice, Annie. There is one more thing. Aren't you a language arts teacher at Chaoyang Elementary? Could this little girl attend school for now? At her age, she cannot stay home forever. Ying shook her head. She needs proof of legal guardianship. Besides, I am on leave right now. I have not been to school in almost a week. Hearing that, you paused. Then you seemed to realize something, and looked astonished. Ying touched her flat stomach, her face glowing with happiness. Your aunt was pregnant. Then she turned to Mikai. I am sorry, dear. I may not be able to help you. I made you come all this way for nothing. Why not stay for dinner? It is all right. We will think of another way, Mikai said softly. Hearing her say we, Ying grew even more curious. Why did it feel like those two were really caring for a child together? And besides, why did she feel as if she were talking to her future nephew's wife? Then you spoke up to your aunt. How about this? You are a teacher, so teach her to read and write during the day, and take her out to play. We will come pick her up in the evening. No problem. Your uncle is usually busy, and I have nothing to do at home alone anyway. Without a second thought, Ying agreed immediately. As she spoke, her eyes kept darting toward Mikai. Mikai's cheeks reddened slightly. There was something strange about the way Ying looked at her. She lowered her eyes and murmured, Thank you, Annie Yun. Ying smiled. It is nothing. I am great with children. Do not worry. Just then, the front door suddenly opened. Zhao Huaizhen walked in, dressed in uniform. Oh, Almo, you are here. Stay for dinner tonight. You smiled and said, Congratulations, Brother Zhao. Before we know it, you will be a father. I cannot wait to hold your baby. Zhao Huaizhen then noticed Mikai as well. He asked curiously, Are you Almo's friends? Mikai slowly replied, Hello, uncle. After they chatted briefly, you picked up the sleeping Youyou. Then, Annie, we will head back now. I still have papers to finish. I will bring Youyou over tomorrow morning. On the way back, Mikai looked somewhat troubled. You comforted her. It is all right. We will find a way. Do not overthink it. Focus on preparing for your college entrance exams. Mikai shot you a glance. You smiled. So, a star student from an elite university is looking down on someone from a regular college. Mikai turned away, ignoring you. After a while, she still turned back. When we get back, give me your last monthly exam paper. It was all ready for in the afternoon when you got home. The little girl was still half asleep. You simply laid her on the bed. Mikai did not waste any time either. She took your exam paper and studied it carefully. After a long while, Mikai stood up. I will take this paper home and go over it more closely. Then I will pick out some questions for you to work on. You finally looked up from idly scrolling through your phone. Why do you care so much about my grades? Mikai did not answer. Instead, she said, I should go home. She had been out all day. By now, Mi Li had probably gone home and tattled on her. Seeing this, you added one more thing. Do not always worry about me. What if your own grades slip? Mikai scratched her head and said, Then I will let them slip a little. If I scored a high, I am afraid you will not be able to catch up. Mikai's striking eyes looked straight into yours. Your expression froze. A moment later, you laughed. When I scored over 500, didn't I win you over too? Mikai gave a soft huff. I meant your score. 10 minutes later, Mikai sat alone in the back of the bus, quietly watching the scenery outside. She still clutched a rabbit plushie in her hand. Everything that had happened these past few days felt surreal, almost unreal. Whether it was Youyou's appearance or meeting you, it felt as though, once she opened her eyes again, all of it would vanish completely. From Youyou's descriptions, Yenmo came from a wealthy family. with a loving, happy home. Mikai did not know whether Yunmo, the boy she might not fall in love with until she was 27 or 28, was truly someone she would love, no matter what age she met him at. Yet she was still happy about it, just like when she was 5, when her mother personally hung a rabbit doll on her school bag. Mikai squeezed the plushie's ears. Mom, after all these years, someone besides you has given me a little bunny. Half an hour later, Mikai had barely stepped through the door when she sensed something off in the air. Her stepmother, Kaiji, was sitting alone in the living room, while Mili's bedroom door was tightly shut. The television was turned down very low. Hearing the door open, Kaiji turned and saw Mikai. Then she called out to her, Keikai, come sit down. Mikai hesitated for a moment, then obediently sat on the sofa. Kaiji muted the television completely. Where have you been all day? Mikai remained silent, not knowing how to explain. I remember you said this morning that you were going to study at the library. Kaiji looked her eldest daughter and name only up and down, her tone betraying neither anger nor warmth. But your sister came home at noon and said you had actually gone out with a boy. Mikai did not deny it. She nodded. I was with a boy. Kaiji had not expected her to admit it so directly. After a moment of silence, she continued, Are you dating him? At that, Mikai lowered her eyes. No. Kaiji frowned, displeased. I have not told your father about this yet. Do not make him worry. My grades are excellent, and I am already an adult. Kaiji was genuinely getting angry. Can't you tell when someone is trying to help you? Mom, I am not your mother. I am not obligated to indulge you in everything. Kaiji was furious and did not think it through. The words just slipped out. Then she realized how inappropriate they were. Her lips moved, but she said no more. Both of them fell silent. After a long time, Mikai stood up. Her voice held no emotion. Please do not be angry. Take care of yourself. When I take the college entrance exams, I will not disgrace you or Dad. Kaiji wanted to say something, but the words caught in her throat. She knew just how deeply her words had hurt. Even if Mikai was not her biological daughter, she had raised her for over 10 years. After an unknown amount of time, a heavy sigh echoed through the living room. She is clearly such a good child, but she is not my biological daughter. After all these years, I still cannot bring myself to like her. Monday morning, you brought Youyou downstairs to your aunt's apartment. Youyou, do you remember everything Dad told you last night? Just last night, you had spent a full 2.5 hours explaining time travel to Youyou. The little girl beamed. Once you went inside, Ying glanced behind you. Why are you alone? Where is that girl? You casually explained. She lives pretty far away. She left the little girl with me last night. Youyou, say hello. At your words, Yun Youyou greeted her brightly. Great Annie. Good morning. Ying was surprised, not quite understanding why this little girl seemed so familiar with her. You taught her that? You smiled and nodded. I did not know what she should call you, so I had her use the same title as my daughter. Ying considered it, but did not dwell on it. The title actually sounded rather nice. Besides, this little girl gave her an instinctive sense of closeness. Youyou, play with Great Annie today. Be good. I will pick you up tonight. Yun Youyou gave a soft hum. She obediently walked over to Ying and took her hand. Annie, when you have time, teach her to read and write. She is at the age to be in elementary school. Ying smiled and nodded. Looking down, she saw the little girl gazing up at her too. Yun Youyou gave her a sweet smile. Great Annie, I get really good grades. My teacher rewards me every day. Youyou, you are so impressive. After saying that, Ying realized something was off. She could not help turning to stare at you. Did you not say she was kidnapped by traffickers? She has even been to school. You looked utterly awkward. Maybe the traffickers understood the importance of compulsory education too. After you left, Ying gently stroked Yun Youyou. Youyou, what is your full name? My name is Yun Youyou. Ying's heart jolted. Youyou's surname was Yun too. She studied the little girl carefully again. The more she looked, the more Youyou resembled you as a child. A possibility crossed her mind, but it seemed utterly absurd. Meanwhile, you returned to school and threw yourself into studying. During the break after second period, you received a message from Mikai. I probably cannot come over this week. Please apologize to Youyou from me. You did not think much of it. Mikai was a top student, so it was normal for her to be busy. I picked out some practice workbooks for you. along with some notes I organized. I will give them to you to look over. When? I will bring them when I am free. Mikai sent another message. A top student really was different. Thinking that. You type back, after school. Mikai replied at once. No. My dad is picking me up today. You immediately frowned. She was in high school. Why did a parent need to pick her up? Then realization dawned on you. Her stepsister had probably gone home and filled their parents' heads with nonsense. Over the next few days, you kept studying hard and taking care of Youyou. Mikai truly did not come to your home again. She only regularly sorted out practice questions and key points she thought were important, then had Liu Ryan bring them to you. Sometimes after school, you saw her outside the classroom building. She looked visibly exhausted, as though her family was keeping her on a tight leash. Whenever you saw this, you could not help frowning. Still, Mikai called every night, just to hear Youyou's voice, listening as Youyou shared about her days with Dad and Great Annie. Great Annie taught me to write Dad and Mom's names today. Mikai listened to her voice over the phone, then opened the messaging app. The photo in their chat showed neat but childish handwriting. The name Yunmo was written beautifully and precisely. Mikai's name was more complicated, and it was clear she had practiced it for a long time. Though the strokes were still a little clumsy, she had still managed to write it. Youyou, you are amazing. Mikai's voice softened despite herself. Yunmo, will your aunt not become suspicious? Holding the phone, you smiled. It is nothing, and he asked a few questions. But Youyou is clever. She did not give anything away. After saying that, you scratched your head. You remembered that whenever you picked Youyou up at night, your aunt's gaze had seemed subtly strange and hesitant. Mikai saved the photo and placed it in her private album named Youyou and Yunmo. Just then, Yun Youyou's sniffling voice rang out. Mom, when are you coming to see me? I miss you so much. I miss you so much too. Youyou, can you give Mom a little more time? Mikai's voice grew quieter. She did not know how to comfort her daughter. Yunmo, Just as Mikai was about to say more, her father, Mi Jiangwo, knocked on her door from outside. His voice was gentle. Kai, get some rest early. Do not make calls so late at night. Whatever it is, talk about it tomorrow morning. You heard it on your end of the call as well. After a brief silence, you said quietly, Youyou is doing well with me. Take care of yourself. With that, you hung up first. Only then did Mikai put down her phone. This tense life continued for a full week. On Friday night, when Mikai came home from school, the living room was empty. She looked down at Youyou's photo on her phone. Though they could not see each other, being able to hear Youyou's voice every night was already enough for her. But for some reason, since yesterday, you had not replied to any of her messages, nor answered her calls. I will come see Youyou this weekend. After sending you that message, Mikai added another line beneath it. Yet she still received no reply. Mikai began to feel uneasy. Just then, Mi Jiangwo called. Kai, are you home? Today is your birthday. Your gift is on your desk. Happy birthday. Mi Jiangwo sounded rather tired. Only then did Mikai belatedly remember that today seemed to be her birthday. Thank you, Dad. After a pause, she asked, where did you go? Dad went back to Annie's hometown with her and your sister. Grandma is not doing well. She is in the hospital now. We probably will not be back until very late. Dad had wanted to celebrate your birthday with you. Mikai gave a quiet hum. It is okay. Thank you for the gift, Dad. I am already very happy. Then make sure you get some rest. After ending the call, Mikai returned to her room. She opened her father's gift. It was a pair of pure white women's sneakers. A note lay on top of the box. It read, Happy birthday, my daughter. Mikai put the gift away and bent over her desk to do her homework. She had never cared much about birthdays anyway. Before long, she picked up her phone again. There was still no reply in the chat. She sent another message. Can I come over now? After sending it, Mikai had no heart to keep working on her test papers. She sat on her bed, hugging her knees, staring blankly at the phone before her. The strain of recent days had left her exhausted. Without realizing it, she fell asleep against the headboard. When her ringing phone woke her, it was completely dark outside. Mikai's eyes were bleary, and she answered in a daze. What are you doing, me? The school bell. I called you several times, and you did not answer. You clicked your tongue flatly over the phone. Mikai rubbed her eyes hard. For some reason, she felt a little wronged. I accidentally fell asleep. You are the one who kept ignoring my messages. It is still early. Get up already. Youyou. Watch where you are going. Stop wobbling around. Youyou's soft voice sounded slightly annoyed. Got it, Dad. You then asked Mikai if she could come out, having just woken up. Mikai's mind was unusually sluggish. She asked blankly, Where are you? You smiled. Get up and wash your face. Get dressed. Then come downstairs and wait for us. Mikai was puzzled. How does Yunmo know where I live? But slowly, she remembered. When she left your home last Saturday, you had indeed asked where she lived. After hanging up, Mikai got up and freshened herself up. Then she hurried downstairs. Soon, she saw you and Youyou talking on a bench beside the flower bed. The dim yellow street lamp glow fell over you both. A warm, comforting feeling filled the air. Mikai stood there, watching the two of you in a daze. Youyou quickly spotted Mikai. She skipped over to her at once. Happy birthday, Mom. May you be as young on every birthday as you were yesterday. Mikai hugged her almost instinctively. She still had not quite processed it. You stood beside them, holding a clear box in your hand, tied with a ribbon. Happy birthday. I got you a cake. Mikai said dazedly. How did you know it was my birthday today? You explained unhurriedly. Youyou told me. That little girl has insisted on celebrating your birthday since she woke up yesterday morning. She has run me ragged these past 2 days. Mikai instinctively held her daughter tighter. Guilt surged through her like a tide. She did not know what to do. All she could do was smooth the hair by her daughter's ear. Do you not blame Mom for not coming to see you for so long? Yun Youyou blinked. But I came to see you, Mom. Looking at her daughter's innocent, adorable face, all the feelings Mikai had carried for so long were slowly replaced by something else. It was like something she had never dared hope for had suddenly appeared before her. That lingering sense of unreality seemed to recede like the tide at that very moment. Her nose suddenly stung. Her lips trembled slightly, but she could not speak. Mom, you have to blow out the candles before eating cake. Yun Youyou pressed her soft cheek against her mother's. Then, from her little pocket, she pulled out a pack of tiny colorful candles. Dad says I am Doraemon, here to make Mom and Dad's wishes come true. Mikai lowered her eyes and sniffed softly. You placed the box on the bench. When you opened it, there was a small cake inside. It was shaped like a rabbit. It looked a little childish and odd. Two bright red strawberries served as its eyes, and a carrot was its nose. In crooked writing on the cake, the frosting read, Happy birthday, Mikai. It looked like Youyou had written it. Mikai could not tear her eyes away. Her vision blurred. She stared at the cake without blinking, like a little girl receiving a new toy. After a long while, Mikai slowly said, So, you can bake cakes too. You immediately denied it. Do not talk nonsense. I cannot. I bought it from a shop. I am a grown man. How could I have the patience to bake a cake? Then why did you use a carrot for the rabbit's nose? I could not find anything else. I told you. I bought it from a shop. What shop sells a cake this ugly? The corner of Mikai's lips curved upward. Suddenly, she wished everything before her could be like a film, slowed down frame by frame, then preserved forever. You took the candles from Youyou and lit them. Then you placed them on the cake. In the street lamp's glow, the candle flames were very faint, flickering unsteadily, as if they could go out at any moment. Mikai suddenly could not bear to cut it. Yunmo, can I take a picture before making my wish? Sure. Take as many as you want. Naturally, you did not refuse. Mikai used her camera to capture the far from perfect cake, then treasured it in her private album, already filled with photos. Mom, hurry and make your wish. It will be too late if the candles go out. Youyou shook her mother's hand sweetly. Mikai closed her eyes and made a wish she had never dared hope for. I want to study hard, attend college somewhere I love, and have a life completely my own. I want to meet someone who loves me, someone worthy of my love, and have a real home of my own. When she opened her eyes again, Youyou puffed out her cheeks and blew out the candles with a whoosh. That was close. The candles almost went out. A smile tugged at Mikai's lips. She stroked her daughter's head, unable to say a word. Mom, I will cut the cake. All right, Youyou. Be careful not to cut its eyes. 2.5 minutes later, mother and daughter sat on the bench, their heads lowered as they ate cake. You did not much like sweets, so you held the carrot and sat beside them watching. Youyou happily swung her legs, her cheeks stuffed full, with little smears of frosting at the corners of her mouth. You found it rather funny. Youyou, what is with you? Why do you always stuff everything into your mouth when you eat? It is adorable. After saying that, Mikai carefully wiped the frosting from her daughter's mouth. Then you asked casually, what did you wish for just now? Tell me. At that, Mikai instinctively turned her head. She suddenly noticed that you had styled your hair today. Your features were more defined, strikingly handsome and refined. The kind that grew more attractive the longer she looked. Noticing Mikai's gaze, you suddenly looked back at her. Mikai did not look away. She quietly licked the frosting from her lips. If I say it out loud, it will not come true. Do you really think you are still a little girl in kindergarten? If you do not tell me your wish, how am I supposed to make it come true? You yawned, looking a little sleepy. Mikai froze. For no reason, the area behind her ears grew hot, and her cheeks heated up too. Something about your words seemed off. After a moment, Mikai asked softly, uncertain, what did you just say? I said, if you do not tell me, how is this Doraemon, who rode a time machine back from the future, supposed to make it come true for you? Mikai gave a quiet "oh." She lowered her head and silently poked the cake with her fork. After an unknown amount of time, the girl's voice drifted through the air, so soft, like a breeze carried from far away. My wish is that on my birthday next year, I can still be like this, making a wish before the candles. Once they finally finished the cake, Mikai suddenly remembered something. She looked at you a little awkwardly. Yunmo, do you plan on dating in college? You were a little surprised. Why are you asking? Mikai pressed her lips together. You know Youyou's existence was an accident, but she is still our daughter. So, before Youyou is old enough to understand, I hope you will not get a girlfriend. You did not say anything. You only watched her with interest. Mikai met your eyes without flinching. Of course, I am not trying to stop you from dating. I just hope we can avoid hurting Youyou. Besides, I definitely will not get a boyfriend either. You nodded. Her reasoning was sound. I can accept that. Then your tone abruptly shifted. But that puts me in a difficult position too. The breath Mikai had just let out caught in her throat again. Are you going to go behind my back? No. Do you really want to date in college? You raised a brow. I do not really care either way. But my mom has given me a strict order. While I am in college, I have to bring a girl home to meet her. As the Yun family's future daughter-in-law. Mikai was stunned. Really? Yes. Otherwise, I might not even be allowed into the house for New Year. She will kick me out to sleep under a bridge. What am I supposed to do? You looked utterly serious. Mikai's thoughts were a complete mess. She felt something was strange, but could only stay silent. Of course, you were not about to let her off that easily. Campus queen me. Say something. Think of a solution for me. Mikai was struggling to hold herself together. After a long while, she finally murmured, yes, what should we do? How about you? As you spoke, you looked her up and down, looking thoughtful. Mikai's brow twitched. She did not know how to handle this, so she forced herself to appear calm. How about what? Finish what you were saying. At that moment, Mikai felt as though something was about to burst through. A sudden panic rose in her heart. A full 2.5 minutes passed before your teasing voice finally sounded. How about I take Fang Yuan home instead? After all, my mom has always suspected the two of us were a couple. The tight line of Mikai's lips slowly relaxed. Naturally, she knew who Fang Yuan was. She also realized that you had been teasing her from the start. Campus queen me. What were you thinking just now? You looked at Mikai with an amused gaze. I was not thinking anything. Mikai kept a straight face, her stubborn streak flaring up. Is that so? Then why are your cheeks still red? The cold wind did it. No. Why would I be blushing? I suppose it is not. Then I must have seen wrong. Mikai pursed her lips and took a deep breath. Youyou, tell Mom the truth. Does your future mom often feel like getting violent at home? Half an hour later, Mikai stood at the entrance to the apartment complex. Do not walk me any farther. This is enough. You waved your hand. We are heading back. It's getting late. Get some rest too. Paused. You continued. Do not let Youyou worry. If something is wrong, you can tell me. Mikai nodded. Her mood truly had not been very good these past few days. She was not surprised that you had noticed. Then she reached out and stroked Youyou's head. Youyou, be good and listen to Dad. Be happy every day. Yun Youyou answered with an emphatic yes. But she still could not bear to part. Mom, will you come home tomorrow to be with Youyou? And Dad will miss Mom too. No matter how busy Dad was before, he always picked Mom up and brought her home every day. Hearing that, Mikai instinctively looked up. Your fingers, typing on your phone, also visibly paused for a moment. Yun Youyou's eyes slowly reddened. I've been good every day. I do as I'm told. I just miss Mom so much. I miss you every day. Mikai's heart ached for Youyou. Do not cry, sweetheart. Mom promises you. Mom will definitely come home tomorrow. The next morning, it took you a full 20 minutes to coax your daughter, her cheeks puffed out like a pufferfish, and get her dressed and washed up. By the time Youyou finished the rice noodle rolls in front of her, Mikai had arrived as well. She looked puzzled. You actually came. How did you get out today? My dad took my stepmother and stepsister back to our hometown. They will not be back until tomorrow, Mikai explained casually. Last night, Mi Jiangwo called and explained the situation. Grandma really was having health problems. They would not be home until tomorrow. So Mikai was spared the trouble of explaining herself to her family. She had brought all her test papers with her today, planning to spend the whole day with Youyou and go home that evening. By the way, is there anything left in the fridge? I will make Youyou something nice for lunch. You thought about it. There did not seem to be much left at home. So you got up to buy some groceries at the supermarket downstairs. I will go with you. Bring Youyou too. We can see what the little one likes to eat. Once they reached the supermarket, Yun Youyou skipped along, her face brimming with excitement. Dad, Youyou wants chips. You smiled indulgently, picking up a bag of chips to toss into the cart. But Mikai immediately snatched it away. Her expression was stern. Why buy her this? You hesitated. But Youyou likes them? She likes them, so you buy them for her? Too many snacks are bad for children. She could easily gain weight, and they are unhealthy. Mikai turned around and put the chips back on the shelf. You spoil her too much. This will not do. Be more mindful from now on. Do not let her eat whatever she wants. Youyou pouted, looking deeply wronged. But clearly, whenever Mom put on a stern face, she was rather intimidating. So she turned to you and launched her appeal. Dad, Youyou wants them. Dad is the best. Mikai gave her daughter's little cheek a pinch. Youyou, do not act cute with Dad. Yunmo, you just carry the bags. I will decide what we buy. Yet after Mikai and her daughter had walked some distance, she realized you had stayed behind. She turned around and saw you putting several bags of chips into the cart. I am buying them for myself. I am not Youyou. What? Are you going to control me too? You like chips too? Mikai looked utterly confused. No. Your answer was blunt. Mikai did not know whether to laugh or cry. Why was this guy acting like a child too? Still, after spending this time together, she had come to understand your personality somewhat. You clearly respond to kindness, not force. With that thought, Mikai took a deep breath and pressed her lips together. In the warmest voice she could manage, she said, Yunmo, if there is anything you want to eat, I will make it for lunch. Let us not buy the chips. That softened tone and attitude made your hand twitch 2.5 times. Then, unexpectedly, Mikai added softly, okay? The very next second, you silently took all the chips out and put them back on the shelf. What you said earlier makes sense too. Damn it. Why does it feel like she has me wrapped around her finger? After finally finishing the shopping, you returned home. Mikai efficiently tied on an apron. Play with Youyou for a while. I will cook. You scratched your head and could only watch cartoons with Youyou in the living room. Before long, your phone suddenly rang. The caller ID showed Lin Hui. You glanced at Mikai in the kitchen and casually answered. Mom, if it's nothing important, I'm hanging up. Lin Hui nearly lost her composure. Sounding annoyed and impatient, she said, Brat, is that any way to talk? Get up already. I am downstairs. You froze at her words. Mom, why did you not tell me beforehand? Lin Hui scoffed. Do I have to report to you before coming to see you? We made dumplings at home today. I brought you some. So, you will not have to eat takeout every day. It is not even a holiday today. Why would you make dumplings at home? You guessed? That Mom had made them especially to bring to you, and to visit the son she had not seen in a long time. Thinking of that, you could not help feeling touched. So, you said, Mom, why do you not turn around and go back now? There is still time. Lin Hui sounded incredulous. You little brat, is that any way to speak to your mother? No, it is just that I am not home today. Hurry up and open the door. I can hear cartoons playing. You fell silent. You glanced at Youyou sprawled on the sofa. then at Mikai cooking in the kitchen. You felt as though you had been caught in a compromising situation. While you stood there dazed, Lin Hui had already started knocking outside. Open the door, now. Hearing her, Mikai came out. She gave you a puzzled look. You told her honestly, my mom is here. At those words, Mikai's face instantly drained of color. She hurriedly wiped her hands, instinctively trying to hide in the bedroom. You quickly caught her. What are you afraid of? My mom is not a tiger. Mikai bit her lip, her face shifting from red to pale. Lin Hai's knocking grew more urgent. Yun Mo, what are you doing? Open the door. You had no choice but to open it. Lin Hui walked in carrying a bag of dumplings. At once, she spotted Mikai and Youyou in the living room. She paused in surprise. Then her eyes lit up. Mikai nervously stood up. Hello, ma'am. Lin Hui studied Mikai with a beaming smile, then looked at adorable little Youyou beside her. Oh my, whose little girl is this? She is so pretty. You quickly explained. Mom, this is my classmate Mikai. This is her younger sister, Youyou. Lin Hui gave a meaningful "oh." A classmate, huh? And she comes to your home on weekends too. Mikai's face turned even redder. She lowered her head, twisting her fingers uneasily. Lin Hui put the dumplings in the refrigerator, then turned to you. Your dad asked me to ask you, have you decided which colleges to apply to? You vaguely answered, I am still considering it. Lin Hui looked at Mikai again. How are your grades, sweetheart? Mikai softly replied, they are all right. Lin Hui smiled. They must be excellent. You look like a top student. As she spoke, she walked over to Youyou, crouching down to stroke her cheek. How old are you, sweetheart? Yun Youyou blinked her big eyes. 8. Lin Hui looked thoughtful. 8 years old, huh? She looked from you to Mikai, then suddenly smiled. You two have fun. I should get going. You walked Lin Hui to the door. She lowered her voice and said, you are something else, kid. You kept this well hidden. You said helplessly, Mom, do not get the wrong idea. Lin Hui waved a hand. All right, I get it. With that, she left with a smile. You closed the door and let out a breath. Mikai was still standing there, looking a little uneasy. You reassured her. It is fine. My mom just loves jumping to conclusions. Mikai nodded softly, then turned and went back into the kitchen. At dinner, the three of you sat around the small table. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Youyou, however, was delighted. Mikai barely spoke. She simply ate quietly, occasionally putting food on your plate. You watched her lowered lashes, feeling something you could not put into words. After dinner, Mikai cleared the dishes. You watched television with Youyou. Outside, the sky gradually darkened. Mikai dried her hands and checked the time. I should go home. You stood up. I will walk you home. Mikai shook her head. No, stay with Youyou. But you insisted. It is too late. It is not safe. In the end, Mikai did not refuse. The two of you headed outside together. The night wind was chilly. Mikai wrapped her arms around herself. You took off your jacket and handed it to her. She hesitated, then took it and put it on. The two of you walked side by side, neither saying a word. The streetlights stretched your shadows long. As you neared Mikai's home, she stopped. This is far enough. You nodded and looked at her. Mikai returned your jacket. Thank you. Taking the jacket, you suddenly said, Mikai. She looked up at you. No matter what the future holds, for now, we will face it together. Mikai's lashes trembled. She gave a soft hum of agreement. You turned and left. After a few steps, you looked back and saw her still standing there. You waved. Only then did she turn and walk into her neighborhood. In the days that followed, you entered the intense final stretch before the college entrance exams. You studied hard every day. Meanwhile, through Liu Ryan, Mikai kept sending you study materials. With Yun Ying looking after her, Youyou was happy. Sometimes, you met on weekends to spend time with Youyou together. The days passed. At last, the college entrance exams arrived. During those 2 exam days, you and Mikai sat your exams at different test centers. After the final exam, you waited for her at the school gate. When she came out, she wore a relaxed smile. You went to meet her. How did it go? Mikai nodded. I think I did well. You smiled at each other. That evening, you took Youyou out to celebrate over dinner. Youyou did not know exactly what you were celebrating, but she was happy to. After dinner, you took a walk along the river. The evening breeze drifted past. Mikai's long hair fluttered gently. Looking at her, you suddenly asked, "Where are you applying?" Gazing across the river, Mikai softly said, "I want to go to Beijing." You smiled. "Funny, I want to go to Beijing too." Mikai turned to look at you, her eyes shining brightly. You nodded. "Of course." Youyou held both your hands. "Daddy, Mommy, will we always be together?" You and Mikai froze at the same time, then smiled at each other. Mikai crouched down and stroked Youyou's head. "We will." When the exam results came out, Mikai ranked among the top 10 students in the school. Though your score was not as high as hers, you exceeded your own expectations too. You met the cutoff for a top university. When it was time to apply, you both chose universities in Beijing. They were not the same school, but they were in the same city. The day your acceptance letters arrived, you all gathered again. Ying made a lavish dinner, and Zhao Huaizhen came home early from work especially for it. At the dinner table, everyone raised their glasses in celebration. Ying looked at you both, her eyes filled with pride and relief. Late that night, Mikai walked you downstairs. Looking at her, you suddenly said, "Let us officially start dating in college." Mikai's face flushed beneath the moonlight. She lowered her head and nodded softly. You smiled, reaching out to take her hand. She did not pull away. Before college began, the three of you went to many places. You took many photos, every one filled with radiant smiles. The day of parting finally came. You and Mikai were heading to Beijing to enroll. Youyou would stay with Ying for now. At the airport, Youyou clung to you both and would not let go. You coaxed her for a long time, promising to visit her often. Only then did she reluctantly let go. The plane took off. You watched the city grow smaller outside the window, then looked at Mikai beside you. She leaned against your shoulder, her eyes closed. You held her hand tightly, your heart full of hope for the future. College life began. You and Mikai attended different schools, but saw each other often. On weekends, you worked part-time together, saving money to visit Youyou. Your relationship grew ever closer. On graduation day in your senior year, you and Mikai both wore graduation gowns. Youyou sat in the audience, clapping happily. After the ceremony, you took photos around campus. Youyou stood in the middle, with the two of you on either side. Sunlight fell across all three of you, warm and beautiful. That evening, you celebrated at home. Mikai prepared a lavish dinner. You raised your glasses to celebrate graduation and a new beginning. After dinner, Youyou fell asleep. You and Mikai sat on the balcony, watching Beijing's night skyline. Mikai leaned against your shoulder and softly said, "All these years have felt like a dream." You wrapped an arm around her. "It isn't a dream, it's our real future." She looked up at you, her eyes sparkling like starlight. You lowered your head and kissed her. The moonlight was gentle. One weekend, the three of you took Youyou back to your hometown to visit Ying and Zhao Huaizhen. Their child could already run and jump, calling Youyou big sister. The whole family was laughing and full of life. That night, the three of you lay on the bed in the old house. Youyou, sleeping between you, suddenly said, "Daddy, Mommy, I remember when I was little. We slept like this too." You and Mikai smiled at each other. Youyou added, "I think I had a very long dream. In it, I went back to the past and found you both." You both froze for a moment, then smiled. Mikai stroked her head. "That wasn't a dream. It was real." Youyou's eyes widened in surprise. "Really?"